The story revolves round Kaizaki, a 27-year antique unemployed guy, unmarried and drunk. If we placed it honestly, he's a failure, and worse for him, his mom calls him and tells him that she has horrific information announcing she can't guide him any extra cash, in which you are 27 years antique, so it is time you stood to your very own feet. All of a unexpected, a man indicates up who is aware of the entirety about Kaizaki. He says, "You are unemployed, your mother stopped providing you with cash, and you are 27 and not using a consistent activity." Thunderstruck, Kaizaki asks, "Who are you?" to which he says, "In which are my manners? My call is Ryou," and exhibits that he is from the ReLife laboratory. He explains that he is speak me to Kaizaki due to the fact he has been decided on as a take a look at pattern for tense. Kaizaki asks what its miles, to which Ryou explains that the test will final for 365 days, all reciting charges paid and relying on the way it is going. He ought to get activity after. Kaizaki asks what the capture is, and Ryou tells him that every one he has to do is take a look at this tablet. He explains that he's going to be capable of rebuild existence and be a teen once more, so he's going to have the possibility to accurate all of the mistakes he made, and Kaizaki agreed because he didn't have anything to lose. The next day, Kaizaki wakes up and looks in the mirror, surprised to see he is young again. Ryou then pays him a visit and makes him sign a contract, and also informs him that he will be attending school for the duration of the experiment. However, he is approached by Hashiro, a prodigy but a touch socially awkward. She informs Kaizaki that he is sitting in her seat, so he apologizes and moves, and the teacher instructs him to put his luggage away. When she discovers a pack of cigarettes in there, she becomes alarmed and assigns him after-school detention. When the final bell rings, Kaizaki wants to leave but is stopped by his teacher, who reminds him that he has to stay after school and urges him to compose an apology letter before sending him home. When Kaizaki is about to leave, he is stopped by Ryou, who informs him that it is his job to observe and report on his year, and he asks him how it feels to be back in high school after so long, to which Kaizaki replies, "It's been a total train wreck." Ryou explains that the ReLife experiment was designed to rehabilitate those who have dropped out of society so they can get back on track. The next day, the teacher revealed the test results of the students: Kazuomi Ogi for boys, Hashiro for girls, and Kaizaki received a paperback book, which happened to fail. When a girl named Onoya asks Kaizaki to have lunch with her at lunch, she hesitates that she is out of age, but eventually she accepts and the demon joins the cafeteria. Kaizaki finds her day struggling to get her food and goes to check her, so Kaizaki offers to lend him to her. Hashiro asks how easy it is for you to borrow money, as if he is a grown-up person, but she said she would repay him later tomorrow, and finally gratefully accepts it. He frankly says yes, but he should laugh a little more. She smiles and asks if it's good. Kaizaki denies her and don't worry too much to give up her smile strategy. Meanwhile, Ryou is watching over Kaizaki in case he tells him that he will erase everyone's memory at the end of the year of probation. School teachers and friends tell him to stop testing as soon as he tells someone about the experiment and live to 28 without committing, so that no one forgets his 17-year-old presence. Ryou then reminds him that only his outside appearance is OS 17 years boy, however his thoughts and insides are nonetheless 27. Day after today at faculty, Kaizaki reveals a be aware in his locker from Hashiro, which includes the cash she owed him and a thanks at Health Club Nasium class. The ladies are informed to begin with a 50-meter sprint and the men begin with handball toss. Whilst it's Kaizaki's flip, he slightly throws the ball a meter. The instructor asks what is incorrect with him, and he complains that his arm hurts and his shoulder may not rotate. Everybody thinks he simply sucks at sports activities, however all of it understand it is due to the fact he is surely in bad 27-year vintage man. All through the dash he falls flat on his face going for walks, and one in every of his classmates bring him to the nurse's office. Then we see Ryou going over Kaizaki's document. It has been 1 month since he commenced the tense test, however concludes everything seems to be progressing nicely. We additionally see him searching into one in every of Kaizaki's classmates, known as Karyu, a completely cussed and aggressive lady who's proven to be pretty decided as she got here to the primary day of faculty ill with a view to beat Hashiro with inside the exams. The next day, Hashiro gives Karyu her creepy smile. We all know that Hashiro is really trying to be nice, but because Karyu beat her in the most recent exams, she interprets the gesture incorrectly and develops a hatred for Hashiro. Later, when Karyu was practicing volleyball, her partner abruptly left with 2 of her best friends, which fanned the flames of her hatred and envy. Her anger grows when she discovers Hashiro's bag on the floor after giving the gym's keys back. Her hero achieves everything so effortlessly, and she explains that becoming the top scorer wasn't just about the status but also serving as evidence that she belongs with Oga. She gets angry and grabs Hashiro's back, trying to throw him somewhere, But she catches Kaizaki, who asks her to take it to the teacher's room, apologizes, and says I have to go home, but Kaizaki won't let her go easy. And asked why she has 2 bags, Ryou panicked and tried to run away. She slipped down the stairs and was about to fall, but Kaizaki saves her in time, or else Kaizaki wakes up the nurse's office, where the nurse reveals that Hashiro is human. Find them and tell Kaizaki that he did a good job of protecting Ryou from falling. After he leaves, Ryou wakes up and Kaizaki asks her why she has her Hiro bag. She explained that she was just going to hide it somewhere. Kaizaki says, why do you think bullying her is the only way to hit her, and goes on to explain that trying to take others down simply means stooping, and the Ryou he knows is better. This Ryou sheds tears, and Kaizaki comforts her, saying that she is too busy comparing himself to others to see his worth. He then tells her that she has a bad opinion of Hashiro, and he ended up making Ryou feel better. With his old wisdom, Kaizaki talks to Hashiro and explains everything she tells him. She will deal with herself, and Kaizaki leaves. But his protective instincts flare up, and he ends up having to step back because he wants to make sure his Hiro is safe. When suddenly a Ryou pops up from behind a Kaizaki surprisingly, but says you should get used to this now and wherever you go. So am I. Hashiro reveals Ryou to clean the hassle among them and that they begin talking. In the meantime, Ryou and Kaizaki are spying on them from at the back of the tree. Ryou tells her that she hate her announcing which you took the whole thing I desired, and that each time our eyes meet you made a laugh of me with that smile. But Hashiro explains it's simply the manner I smile, and Ryou realizes she misunderstood her the entire time and that they grow to be friends. The days by Skip and Oga in conjunction with Inoya amazed Kaizaki at his house. Kaizaki receives Loopy in view that he has cans of beer and lots of different matters, so one can provide his actual age away, so he hurries and places the whole thing away. Much later. At volleyball practice, a girl named Tamarai fainted because lack of sleep, and Ryou sprained her ankle so she can't compete in the next volleyball tournament. Tamarai tries to comfort her, but she throws everything in her face, saying I'm not a prodigy like you and I need practice to be able to play well. After days go by without them talking to each other, Ryou's childhood friends listen to what they have to say, so they pull you so she can hear that Tamarai really thinks she's a fanatic and it's unbearable to be there just joking. What she's really saying is sports is something she's very special about, which makes her so much resentment from the other kids. But then she met Ryou, who made her want to continue playing volleyball. When they finished talking, they got up to leave, and when she opened the door, Ryou was there with her friend. Tamarai asks her to stay on the squad as you are still upset. But Ryou responds that she has already informed Sensei that she is leaving. Days later, when the tournament's championship match is about to begin, Ryou decides not to go. So they begin playing without her. In the meantime, Hashiro convinces Ryou to reconcile with Tamarai because she wants to be friends with both of them. And after some heartfelt words, Ryou decides to reconcile. Her teammates are glad to see her when she arrives for the game. And they continue playing the rest of the game together despite losing. Nevertheless, their friendship endures. After that, the ogre finally realizes that he is in love with Ryou. So at the festival they officially go public and start dating. On the other hand, Kaizaki falls in love with Hashiro, and it seems like her too. But he doesn't want to do anything because he's 27 plus people will forget about it. But we find out that Hashiro is actually another test subject for the actual experiment, and we see a flashback of when Ryou approached her and talked about it with her. So neither of them know that they both are real-life tests. That's why they're holding back, because they fear forgetting each other. But since real-life subjects are allowed to keep their memories, we know they won't. Nevertheless, they cherish the moment and watch the fireworks together. Later, Kaizaki advises Hashiro to make many friends and to take advantage of every opportunity. Later, she promises Kaizaki that she won't ever forget him. And he responds, I won't ever forget you either. The story comes to an end here. If you like the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel.